Okay, I need a motion and a second to move into public session. All in favor? I'd like to ask everyone to stand up and stand for allegiance and moment of silence. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hutchinson?
Present.
Ms. Canfield?
Present.
Mr. Warshaw?
Present.
Mr. Carter?
Present.
Ms. Kennedy?
Present.
Ms. Oberlin?
Present.
Dr. Adams?
Present.
Mr. Nucci?
Present.
Ms. Donowin?
Present.
Mr. McMillan?
Present.
Okay, we're moving on to the minutes of the Board of Education meeting on March 12th, 2019. We need a motion and a second. Motion. Second, all in favor? Then we're moving on to resolution.
I am going to ask Mrs. Rubin, come on up, and let's honor our student. So, Bryn Burke. Come on up. So why don't you tell us what Bryn did?
Bryn was participated in our PTA Reflections program. And we were notified a little bit ago that her project moved to the States for state recognition. She came up with, she played guitar, she had a wonderful musician, and she wrote the music as well. She created her own CD. So we're very proud.
So can you bring that back to another board meeting so we can play the board so they can hear how wonderful it is? Could you do that for me? All right, well, congratulations, we're so excited for you. Dad, where's Dad? You have it in your phone, Dad?
I just happened to.
Okay, wait a second, we'll get you a mic so that we can all hear it. I definitely do.
Are we on?
There are heroes around me.
Buffering, it definitely buffering.
Do you need a new computer guy? He could fix this from happening.
It's not me, it's the wife.
To find you, you're waiting for a superhero to help you find the light. But there are heroes around you, heroes around you, heroes around you. You'll find there are heroes around you, heroes around you, heroes around you in life. When your head is hanging low and the tears I've begun to realize there are heroes all around me, heroes all around me, heroes all around me. I find there are heroes all around me, heroes all around me, heroes all around me, and I.
Okay, we need to take your picture.
Oh, let's see your
That's
picture.
amazing.
Go ahead. You, oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Di gets nervous. Do you want to give him autographs now?
Really?
Right here, guys, on three. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Hold on. I earned it.
Who do you want to sing that song? Which famous singer? You can sell it to them to make a lot of money.
Just bring birth.
Great job.
All right, I'm going to invite Edward Salazzo up. Come on up. Tell us a little bit about your Eagle Scout project and what you're doing with the remaining Scouts.
Hi everyone, I'm Eddie Salazzo. I'm an Eagle Scout from Troop 76, and for my project, I built a bunny bench and an outdoor lending library for Sycamore Avenue Elementary School. And I fundraised money to fund my project, and I had about $400 extra, which I donated back to the school.
So Eddie, do you know what percentage of kids who start as little guys in the Cub Scouts become Eagle Scouts? Do you know what percentage that is?
I don't know from the Cub Scouts, but 4% of the Boy Scouts actually.
4%. So you're in that rarefied air of 4%, and you've done something wonderful for our school district, and I can't thank you enough.
Well, how many do you have so far?
I think it's 37.
These are not easy to get, you have to work for these.
Stay here, Mark. Take a picture. Fabulous. All right, I need to bring Coach Guerreri on up. Come on. You've had such a successful season, and I was so lucky to be able to see a couple of the different meets with the wonderful girls who look so much smaller now in street clothes. You're like powerful animals in your basketball uniform, and you're like so much smaller here, and the things that you've accomplished have been amazing. It's so much fun to watch. So I'm going to let your coach talk a little bit about your season and how wonderful it's been.
Okay, I just want to take you back a couple of years and go really quickly up to 2018. In 2015, we were one beat short of being undefeated as League 2 athletes, as League 2 team. In 2016, we were undefeated League 2 champions of our season. In 2017, we had moved up to League 1, which is the most, difficult league, and we were undefeated League 1 champions as a team. Our team has been growing in strength over the years. We are made up of so many amazing athletes. I'm a little bit biased to gymnasts because that's what I work with, but I always tell my kids a well-rounded gymnast is one of the coolest people you'll ever meet, because these kids, they know how to work, they know how to fall down, literally fall down, and get back up every single time. These kids could take a beating like you would not even imagine in their sport, and they will work through the whole thing. They are kids that, as a coach, they inspire me. They make me want to be a better person. They make me want to be a better coach for them. I'm truly honored. I'm so blessed to work with these athletes. They're not just amazing gymnasts too, they are amazing, amazing people. And I could talk about each one of them individually, but they are truly well-rounded, smart, caring, kind, giving, and then they're hardworking on top of that. I mean, they are so cool. They are just, as mother of 3 little ones, this is who I want my girls to grow up and admire. These are role models that I want for my children. So this year, we had a team of 27 the past 2 years. It's our biggest years ever. People are loving our team. We're a family. We love each other. We work hard like no other. And this year, we were really fortunate. We had 4 of our kids. We had the largest group in Suffolk County to make up our Section 11 team. And we have, do you want me to pull them up? Or, so maybe I can pull them up and they can stand here. All right, so Amanda Pisano. These girls are super awesome, and I'm just going to tell you really quick about them. So Amanda here is a senior. Oh my God, goodness, I can't talk in detail, but she's our senior. She made it for her 2nd year in a row as a vaulting state athlete, and she went on last year to help us place 3rd in New York State. This year we came in 4th in all of New York State. So she was on vault for the past 2 years. So Sarah she was ranked 3rd at our county meet. She was the number 3 kid all around and on everything for the whole county meet. So that won her the role on the state team as an all-arounder, and only 3 kids get that role. Sarah had that. She unfortunately had an injury that prevented her from competing on our state team this year. Fortunately now she's healthy. We're always looking towards next year, new goals, new year. Ariana is in 9th grade, and Alex is in 8th grade, both of them, we moved up in their middle school year, which is rare, but they're super talented, so they deserve to roll on varsity, where they were truly, truly valued. Ariana and Alex were both alternates on the team, and unfortunately, but fortunately for them, Ariana was able to compete due to other injuries. She ended up competing for us on beam and vault. She had her vault high score at the state meet, our high score for our season. Alex was an alternate. She could have been on the team due to injuries, but then she was injured herself too, so she wasn't on the team to compete. But out of 1,200 New York State gymnasts, these girls represent the top 120 in the state.
They're used to sitting like this, though.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we should do that.
They're not too good.
They don't have to do that. Not here.
Right here. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so moving on to student government report.
Thank you guys.
So he's a twin of a gymnast over there, right,
I
Adam?
didn't, wait a minute, I didn't know that, Adam.
Oh, you're twins. Oh, you're son. Okay, all right.
Oh, I was gonna say, I didn't know that.
Welcome out.
No, there's just a 14 now.
What's going on the last 2 weeks? Next week, 2 weeks from now, April 13th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have our annual display now. Which is including, started new events.
We are having our induction ceremony next Wednesday, and invites for you guys to come are available. Sorry, it's late.
Thank you.
No RSVP, yeah, I'm gonna be there. I actually know somebody who's gonna be in attendance. Thank you. Is this the first year for this legislative induction? First year. He's a trendsetter. Very good.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. If any of the kiddies want to go home, you can go home, because it's going to get down to business.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now we're moving on to discussion items. We have the capital project discussion. John, you're up.
Well, I think it's really a question for the board to present any questions that may still exist. I incorporated the ideas that came out of the last Board of Education meeting, adding air conditioning at Sycamore, changing the scope of work at the high school fields to include infield turf and eliminate the sand injection system in the bleachers. And we substantially reduced the scope of work for the maintenance building over the new transportation.
So now our grand total is $45,758,000.
Correct. It's, yes, it is less.
Well, you had buying power 48, so we came in $1,148,000.
Yep.
What did you do? What did you exactly, what did you add? You added these
For the 4 infields for the high school baseball and softball fields. To get there, we eliminated the sand injection system in the varsity field and reduced the bleachers that were talking about being inspected. So that was a little bit of an exchange there, slightly more money. We added the air conditioning at the Sycamore Auditorium.
Oh, yes,
As we discussed, yeah. So that, we had to come up with a line item and include that. It's going to be considered even priority 2 or whatever that is. It still needed to be part of the original scope, or at least the decided upon scope, and we substantially reduced the scope of the maintenance building. That was to allow all of the equipment at the high school to come out of the barn and go into individual garage bays. I know we discussed going down to 2 garage bays. I talked to John Burrow. He actually says if we go bare bones, we do nothing more than an eye wash station and basic electric. We don't go too much beyond that. He can do 4 garage bays for $450,000. And I know the number we were talking about was $2 million. That allowed us to reduce the project by $1,984,000. So
We got 4 bays.
that would give us 4 bays. So it would really be dedicated to storage and getting as much stuff out of the high school basement as possible.
And they include the bathrooms. Keep that in there.
What bathrooms? The field house?
Yeah.
That's in there.
What was the price on the
$650,000 to do steel, we have to do roof work, we have to do pavement work, so those are some.
No, the auditorium, the auditorium.
The high school,
The high-
4.4 or
No,
something?
Well, that's what I meant. Sycamore air conditioning was $650,000.
plus 500,000.
I believe it was 500.
I have to, John, don't worry about it. So it's just an extra 640 for the end, that's all it's getting.
650.
The air conditioning, air conditioning.
Yeah.
So when you're new to the table, what is your thoughts over this scope of work?
I'm happy to be able to try it out.
Zelma? I'm good.
So that's your discussion. We'll have, later on in the meeting, we'll have, as part of the voting part of the meeting, we'll have to do all the sequels, which represents the environmental impact at each of the various and then the actual bond resolution that speaks exactly to the scope that we discussed is also on the agenda later on. Once we have that, then we will start working with every constituency group within the community to start setting up meetings, walkthroughs, and everything else. So it's going to be a busy process over the next 2 weeks.
So you're getting all the PTAs and civics?
I will extend invitations to everybody, and I will get into as many locations as I possibly can.
Did you send all this updated stuff to the facilities committee?
Not as yet because the board, since the board hadn't approved it, it will all go to the facility committee as a starting point. It will go to the unions, it will go to everybody across the board. It's going to be posted on the website. So all this information, I don't know, we haven't really sat down with syntax to figure out exactly the best format, but I have to figure it's going to figure prominently on the homepage of the website.
So, John, I don't remember who store was, can you remind me, Linda, that they did like a little mini, what I call it, infomercial, where they did something, I think the superintendent experience had spoken depth about their bond process and.
Yeah, Lisa, I think they probably did something along those lines. I'm not gonna give up Dean's and Dan's project, that's gonna come up later, but wait till you see what we've done as highlight reels for our kids in the budget. We'll do a highlight reel just like that for the bond project.
Okay, so that's going to be shared on the district website and.
Yes, yep.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, John. Okay, we're moving on to curriculum highlights.
Good evening. Before I start with some of the things that are included in this year's budget, I just want to draw the attention to the board of an article that was in Newsday. Not sure the exact date, but what it did is it talked about the 2016-2017 AP scores. So out of all the school districts on Long Island, we ranked third for the number of results for students who score between a 3 and a 5. So it's a great accomplishment for our district.
That's the AP?
Yes.
Oh, it's the AP?
Yes.
I'm just up in county called Wilmette. First.
So each year I get up and I have the opportunity to talk about a slide presentation about the programs that are included in this year's budget. We try to do something a little bit different at the recommendation of the superintendent. One of the things that sometimes the public and the board doesn't always get an opportunity to see is the work in the classrooms and the programs live in action. So we wanted to make it alive for everyone. There's a little bit of a voiceover that I do. When you hear your own voice, it never sounds great, but you all have to sit through it. I sat through it about 25 times. But it's an amazing opportunity for us to see what the board has supported in the past and where it's grown, as well as to show and highlight the things that are included in this year's budget. So without further ado. Yeah. Innovation, inspiration, and empowerment. These are just three of the words that can be used to describe the myriad of robust programs and initiatives introduced into the Connecticut Central School District over the past several years. With the support of our community, the district's educational landscape has evolved over this time. Emerging and educationally based practices have been incorporated into our curriculum, and in tandem with these changes, our trained professionals have been developing initiatives considered to be at the forefront of education. To provide all students with a strong foundation for learning, the district introduced the Lucy Calkins Units of Study. Through this evidence-based English Language Arts program, which we phased in over a 3-year period, students in grades K through 10 are gaining a stronger understanding of what it means to be readers and writers. They are also building scaffolding skills through workshop models that will support them throughout their educational journeys and beyond.
I love writing because I can connect my thoughts and feelings into my writing. I can connect my experiences, like the education I went on, or really pretty much anything I've ever done in my own life.
Literature-rich classroom libraries have also been created throughout the district to support student literacy. These leveled libraries are located in all K through 5 classrooms and provide students with direct access to a collection of just right books aimed at their individual reading levels. In the area of mathematics, our district completed a full overhaul of our elementary curriculum and adopted a program called Math in Focus, which is aligned to the revised New York State Learning Standards. Through the use of new technology, such as an adaptive application, eSpark, learning is further supported as teachers are able to individually monitor students' comprehension of mathematical concepts and provide additional targeted support on an as-needed basis. Today's world calls for individuals to possess a unique skill set largely driven by the ability to think critically, creatively, and comprehensively. With this in mind, the district's introduction of innovation labs at each elementary school during the 18-19 school year proved to be a natural fit. Led by our new computer science and engineering teachers, these STEM-based learning spaces allowed students to explore fields such as computer coding, participate in engineering challenges, and engage in other hands-on projects that elevate learning to a new level. This type of learning spills over to our library spaces, where students take part in makerspace activities and create inventions with their own hands.
I love Innovation Lab because we get to participate with our friends and do fun things, and also we get to learn about science, engineering, and maze codes, and also we have learned about autobots and many fun things in science engineering. I love Innovation Lab because we get to participate and we get to learn things that we wouldn't learn in our regular day classroom. And it's good for our minds to know what we're doing because we may be doing these things when we're older.
Because high school is the final stepping stone for our students in the district, a number of recent initiatives have focused on the secondary level. New courses have been introduced at the middle and high schools based on student interest and program structures, including electives in social media marketing, an introductory athletic training program, and advanced placement programs in computer science. Through the AP Capstone program at the high school, which is a 2-year, 2-pronged program supported by the College Board, students are gaining valuable research, communication, and critical thinking skills, as well as a first-hand experience with a level of rigor typically found in collegiate programs. Our High School Futuring project has brought the introduction of curricular academies. Comparable to a college major, this initiative offers many programs of concentration for students in the areas of business, STEM, and computer science. By participating in an academy, a student is able to enroll in a series of courses based on a topical interest, which can be of great value when looking to declare a college major or select a career path. Classroom spaces and technological resources have also been updated in recent years, providing students and teachers with access to countless ways to enrich education. Through collaborations with Google Classroom, educators and students are engaged in two-way learning experiences and have the ability to delve into content on a deeper level. Our commitment to updating classroom interactive whiteboards and provide greater access to devices such as Chromebooks has also enabled students to sit in the driver's seat of their inquiry-based learning. But perhaps most importantly has been the district's robust overhaul of our technology network. From installing new internet switches, phones, and a comprehensive wireless network, our students and teachers have even greater access to the countless resources available at their fingertips and in a life beyond the walls of our classroom. Through these recent enhancements, and many others introduced in the past few years, it is clear that Connecticut students are on the pathway to becoming tomorrow's leaders, and clear evidence of why #Connecticut leads. One of the programs that we did not highlight, which was a board goal, was to add foreign language in our elementary schools. So I'd like to invite up our Director of World Languages and ENL, Ms. Henry. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the opportunity we have moving forward to add a language in our elementary schools. It is currently not included in the line-by-line budget that you have this evening. If it is something that we want to move forward with, it would probably be an increase of 0.16% to the levy because of the staffing implications. So it's not really. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the board for allowing me to present information on foreign language in the elementary schools. Although I like to say world language in the elementary schools. We're still working on that transition, but FLES has been around for quite a long time. The program is offered in many elementary schools throughout Long Island and in New York State, and it's a really exciting time for us. So the first thing I want to talk about is the types of programs that there are. So we have 4 different main types of language programs. One is a FLEX program, which is an experiential program where students get exposed to a few languages throughout the year, focusing in on mostly culture and some of the basic vocabulary and speaking skills. There's a FLES program, which is a typical program that we have that students can study one language, and it can start in any grade from kindergarten to 3rd or 4th or 5th grade, and then it works its way up. So by the time students exit elementary school, they are fluent in one particular language. They also learn about culture as well in all of these programs, and it's a really great opportunity for kids to learn about cultures around the world. There's a dual language program. It's basically a 50-50 split, where half the day is spent in a native language and the other half is taught in English. So you can, and that ranges again, that can start from kindergarten up. And it's typically half a day. Sometimes it's a little more or a little less depending upon what the district would like. The last program would be an immersion type program where students in school will learn a target language. They're fully immersed in it for either half or a full day. The content area is taught using the target language, so it's not in addition to what students are already getting. It's all together with what they're learning in the classrooms. So you can have a science class in Spanish and a social studies class in English, just depending on how it's set up. So we have all 4 types of programs. They all have very worthwhile goals. It's a really great way to introduce languages in the elementary school. So after doing a lot of the research and really looking at these programs, speaking with colleagues in other districts, what I thought and what we thought would be a really great fit for Connecticut would be having FLES at the elementary schools and a FLEX type of program in grade 6. So foreign language would begin at the elementary level and work its way up, where in 6th grade students would then be exposed to all 3 languages that we have presently in the secondary level, Spanish, French, and Italian, and then when they reach 7th grade, they get to select one particular language of the 3. The instructional approach, again, is a lot of listening and speaking. It's really basically communicative skills at the elementary level. There is some reading and writing involved, but it's not very heavily laden with reading and writing. It's really more about communication, getting to know each other, and being able to hold a conversation in the language. So when we talk about FLES and FLEX, in the research I've done, there are pretty much 4 main types of programs that we can have. So the first proposal is a 5-year implementation plan. And so it starts off in kindergarten and works its way all the way up to 6th grade. So FLES would be introduced at kindergarten. The language would be Spanish. There'll be 20 minutes 3 times per week. So as the children gain in grade level, they continue with the flex program. It's 3 times a week, 20 minutes a session, and they get really great exposure to languages. And 5th grade would be the flex type of program, because once you hit 6th grade, if you select your language earlier on in 6th grade, the 5th grade program will give a great opportunity for the kids to learn all 3 languages and then make their decision as they hit the 6th grade. And the 6th grade flex program would be every other day. Proposal 2 is also a 5-year plan. So the first 2 are basically the same, but the second proposal is only 20 minutes per session, 2 times a week. So it's a little bit less time during the day, but it still gives students an opportunity to learn and grow in learning Spanish. And the Spanish is taught from kindergarten through, again, 4th grade. 5th grade is a flex program where they learn all 3 languages, and then the 6th grade would be their choice of either French, Spanish, or Italian. The 3rd and 4th proposal are a slightly truncated type of program, still very viable, still an excellent way to introduce foreign languages in the elementary schools. Proposal 3 is a FLES program in grades 3, 4, and 5. So you're learning Spanish for grades 3, 4, and 5, 20 minutes per session 3 times a week. Grade 6 then becomes a flex year, where it's every other day, and they get all 3 languages during the year. And then in 7th grade, they pick their language. The 4th proposal is just slightly smaller. It's a 2 times a week, 20 minutes per session, with the same concept, where they would be learning Spanish in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. 6th grade then becomes their flex year, where it's all 3 languages, and then in 7th grade they pick up on the secondary level program. So every program has its merits. Of course, I would love for one to start in kindergarten and work all the way up to 6th grade, but the 3rd and 4th proposal are just as viable and just as valuable for students in kindergarten. So the program that I am recommending tonight is the 4th option, and it's FLES Spanish in grades 3, 4, and 5, 20 minutes, 2 times a week. There are many districts on Long Island that do have this type of program in 20 minutes, although a short amount of time. It's jam-packed full of learning going on there, and students are learning the target language. So this coming school year, we would introduce it in grade 3. Year 2 would be grade 4. Year 3, we add grade 5, and year 4, we add grade 6, which, again, that would be the flex program. So it's gradually increasing the staffing as we go along. But by the time 22-23 school year comes around, we will have a grades 3 through 12 language program, which is a really great thing to be able to share.
So if that's successful, money is available, could the next one, second, third?
Oh, absolutely, yes. We just have to plan for it, because once you go back, you have to shift your instruction a little bit back. But it's absolutely doable. You can, at any point, even start in kindergarten and work your way up. While you have the 3 through 6 program, you can add kindergarten and then start down there and work your way up that way.
I actually have 2 questions.
If we just let her get to the end, and then we'll.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, that was it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So just
Questions?
prior to the questions, some of the things that the board needs to consider as we go forward with this, that this is a long-term commitment that needs to be made. Obviously, it's a multi-year commitment. What Denise did was put together the overall costs of the long-term commitment. Obviously, starting in grade 3 with the proposal number 4 is the least costly to the district. And year 1 will cost about $180,000 to get.
Alright, so,
How many teachers is there?
For this coming school year, 1.2 teachers, give or take.
Where would they be giving the classes?
I'm sorry?
Where would the classes be, in that classroom in their homes?
It would be in the classroom, so the language teacher would go into each classroom in third grade.
Could
So-
they,
So they would split up their day. So period one, the first 40 minutes of the day, 20 minutes in class, one class, and then they move to the second classroom. So each period you have two classes that are being covered.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask my two questions. So just give me an idea, first of all, why do you prefer the 2 days versus the 3 days? Because, I kind of see the benefit of 3. And my second question is, I personally like the 20-minute slots because I think 20 minutes is truly not enough, an hour a week, but I think that would be great. And how does that work? So you start with Spanish, or you start with French, or you start with?
So for the FLES programs,
With third grade, right?
yeah, third grade, it's just Spanish.
Just
So it's Spanish third, fourth, fifth grade. So they're getting one language intensively for those 3 years. Yes, for the 3 years. So that's the main focus. The FLEX program can be done different ways if you wanted to introduce different languages, but then they're really not learning one particular language. They're getting a lot of exposure to 3 or 4 languages, but they're not really learning the language for the sake of having those conversations and gaining the skills.
So they're starting at third, they're working their way, basically, starting 6th grade, they're going to do it 7th grade. So how does that 7th grade model change? Because now we're implementing this earlier.
Right, so what we would have to do is really do some serious planning as to how it will affect the language programs at the upper grade levels. We have our FLAX exam that we usually give in 8th grade. We could technically or possibly move it down to 7th grade and then offer more advanced courses once they hit the high school level. So right now we have some college level courses that students are taking in 12th grade. We could potentially move those college level courses down to 11th grade or even 10th grade, depending on how we fit all that in and work the curriculum.
So the why to the cost, or the proposal that we selected, looking to be fiscally responsible in a time where we have a decrease in enrollment. It's something that we're very conscious of, and from an experience standpoint, we feel that it's still an outstanding experience for our kids. It will have an impact on our elementary school program, and it's something that we just still have conversations and planning about. But overall, we'll have the least impact and have the least financial impact on the district.
So say, for example, a school like Jericho, how often?
So I spoke with Lily Margarita. She runs the Jericho program, and we had a lengthy discussion about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and she explained to me that 20 minutes is enough for students to really gain knowledge base that they need
2
to
days a
do.
week?
Some districts do 2 days a week, some do 3. It really just depends on what we as a district can physically afford and put into place. If we start off with a smaller program, we see the value, we see that we may want to increase it, that could be something we can do at a later time, or we can just go with proposal 1 and just start by kindergarten.
Gina, I have a question. With the getting this in, how does that affect, we just fought hard for the extra gym time for the kids, extra playtime for the kids. How does it affect that and the opt-out, the testing and the test prep and all that stuff?
So I'll start. It's going to be an impact. Anytime we reallocate time during the elementary day to add something new, it will decrease the opportunity for the other content areas. So that's something that we have to really plan strategically as we go forward. So it won't impact the extended lunch period that we put in, but it will definitely impact some of the reading and math blocks that we put together in the elementary school over the past year. As far as the opt-out piece, from a curriculum standpoint, our focus is making sure that our kids are reaching those grade level standards, and that's been our focus for the past 5 years. So it's not about the testing, it's...
I'm hearing some concerning things though online that some of the teachers, some of the kids are coming home saying things like, that's it, we're done learning, we have to just do test prep now.
I have not heard that in the past 3 years, but...
I'm sure some of the people in the audience will come up during public session and let us know how that's going, but that's what I'm seeing online. And I'm concerned now if we listen, I'm ashamed that my children have to learn a language until 6th grade. I would love them to learn it in kindergarten. My nieces and nephews know Polish and Norwegian. Is that the word, Norwegian?
Norwegian.
Yeah. My kids know nothing except they were taught here. So I love the language thing. I'm just concerned about taking away from them everything that the parents already fought for.
It's not taking away, it's going to be a reallocation of time. It's a decrease in.
I'd like to see that before we implement anything.
Understood.
May I just add also though, studies have shown that children learning additional languages really help in their problem-solving skills. It helps their brains, their cognitive functions work a lot better because they're using more of their brain to negotiate some languages.
The younger you learn it, the better it is. I know, I get it.
And having the teachers that go into the classrooms, meeting with classroom teachers and maybe creating some lessons that go along with the curriculum that the kids are learning is a possibility. So they can, they can learn Spanish, learn science in Spanish. So,
I'm concerned about if they're not getting a science concept then, and then they have to learn it in Spanish, that it's a little bit of a concern.
all doable though.
Yeah.
Nothing that children can't handle when negotiating two languages.
So in your packets last Friday was a very comprehensive presentation put together by Denise with the research behind the recommendations she made, the districts that she reached out to, the estimated costs, the estimated staffing implications. I just want to thank her for the work on this and any other questions?
Yes,
Yeah, I have a question.
Well, how is we treated as a special education level?
I have not gone into detail or depth with that yet. I'd love to have them included as well, but I haven't had the time to honestly prepare that piece of it.
But they will be exposed to this program as such.
I don't see any difference between this and our computer science and engineering, which all of our kids participate in.
I just want to make sure it's available to us.
Oh, we can do increases.
I think it's one.
Thank you.
Yeah, my question, just to clarify, 414,000
That's over the 3-year period.
over the 3-year period, okay.
180 first.
And I'm just a little concerned, the Flex AB, 6th grade, you said they're going to learn 3 languages?
So it'll be 3 languages throughout the year, yes.
So is there an option if somebody took, say, Spanish for 3 years, and that's what I want? I want Spanish. I want my French, I want Italian, I want to be great in Spanish. Do they have an option to stay with Spanish?
So,
Sure.
so we can create that 5th or 6th grade experience to be whatever we want it to be go forward. One of the challenges and concerns I know that Denise will have and her teachers is we don't want to push children or seem to push children in one direction for a language. We have a very robust world languages program in high school and middle school, and we want to make sure that students have an opportunity to target other languages they can clear to.
Right, that's why we chose the Flex program in the 6th year or the 5th year before they enter the secondary language program, because we want to be fair to all the languages that we have in the district, and we want to be able to expose them to all 3 before they make that final decision. We won't hinder students' learning opportunities because they will get Spanish for part of that year, but at least to give them exposure, and they'd be able to pick up French and Italian much more easily, and they might end up having 2 languages by the time they even hit 9th grade. So the possibilities are endless in my view. And I'm really excited. I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you.
What do you need, Nancy?
Mr. Washer.
I think it's a good program, I kind of like it, but I gotta ask you a question. I know we're doing the libraries now, so will this take time away from the students getting into the libraries? Because there's a certain curriculum we have to account for. So it seems like we're taking, I'm all for it, but now we also, I was told that we're gonna use the libraries if we put them in the elementary school. How are we gonna use them if we're doing other things also? It's just how much-
So our elementary students get 2 periods of library each week. It will not
They get
impact.
1 right now, correct?
Let me just verify that as far as the grades, but this has no impact on the library program. It will not impact the time that they spend in the library, nor will it take away from their opportunity to visit during their assigned time.
So when do you need an answer? Tonight?
I think, probably by I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that question.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because you need to have this included in your budget.
Yes, so it's currently not in the draft that you have in front of you, and it is currently not impacting the tax levy at this point. Again, if we move forward with this program, what we estimated right now is that it's a 0.16 impact to the tax levy.
So Sharon, I guess this question is probably closest to you, is when would you like to have an answer for this program?
I think tonight is the time to think about it, digest it, look back at the material we were provided, and make a decision by next board meeting.
Yeah, I did some homework with other districts, or one district, who ended up their program, Babylon, was it Babylon?
Yes.
And they've been doing it for years. It's a worthwhile program, and it benefits, and we're actually behind this area. So somewhere along.
I think it's fantastic stuff.
Is there anything that we can offset it with to take off and put something, other things we're not getting use out of? That aren't helping the students as well? Is there something better?
At this time, I think over the past 5 years, we've really reevaluated our elementary program, revised a majority of our curriculum and aligned them to the standards, changed our educational practices within the classroom, provide resources. So I don't think there's anything that we can substitute out for it. But it is something, and we totally understand, obviously it was a board goal that we had set forth with, but it is definitely an impact from a financial standpoint. It's an impact from an instructional standpoint as far as time at the elementary level. There are going to be a lot of people who support it, and there's going to be, I think, equally amount that may have challenges with the amount of time that it takes during the instructional day.
Okay, Sean, I guess the board will have an answer for you in the next meeting.
If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach out directly to Denise, and we'll make sure that you get.
I have one more question. Are we gonna send this out to the parents and get their opinions? I mean, this is their kids.
This is a Board of Education goal, so that we're responding to that. This is the presentation to the public.
I don't remember, that's all right, because none of my goals were lifted on. It was only a few goals from like years before, but that's okay.
That was me.
Oh, it's a golden one.
No, it was, we also had a discussion, was it last year that we had this discussion?
Every
Yes,
year?
this was the year before we got on board. It was the goals that we actually put up
Because I don't remember.
this year,
Yeah, it
were
was
put up.
last year.
Okay, that's fine.
Just saying.
That's where they started doing it.
I like it.
Well, that's,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take the right, we'll take the right up. We'll say, here we are, because we had to, because of the,
This was spoken about last year, because we were talking about playing it as a club to see if there's an interest in it. And maybe Dean, you can answer that question, since it is now piloted as a club. Is there seem to be a lot of,
So we were able to, it was a little bit delayed in getting off the ground with regards to both funding and staffing. But we had, at the last board meeting, the teachers were appointed, the principals are aware of the programs, and I'll let Natalie discuss how it's going at this point.
Yeah, so letters went home to fourth and fifth grade families.
in all the elementaries?
Every building. I have 4 teachers that will be teaching the program. We divvied up the buildings at the amount of time for each building. So letters went home, they're already coming back. We're going to see how many students in each building are volunteering to program. And we'll hopefully start by next week.
So it's a good indication too of the people that are interested in the program, I would think.
Yes,
It's a good indicator.
Yeah,
that was,
definitely helpful, yes.
and that was funded through a Title IV grant, so it was no cost to the taxpayers.
Do the students have to take the course if they don't want it? Their parents don't want to take it? Is it something that's an optional thing? Is it something
it would be part of our curriculum, so it would be something that we would require our kids to participate in.
So it'd be mad.
You don't want them leaving the room or, I mean, you have to leave the room.
No, I'm just asking what we're gonna, so we're gonna make each kid starting in third grade, let's just say they would start a language. I know some kids are like, I can't eat Spanish.
They'll be there, they'll be the start.
I'm just
They'll be
asking.
the start, right? Start in the room. That's the most, nice to come start. So we're so far behind when it comes to that. And exactly, I don't want to see.
All right, Jeremy, you're up.
So I've given you the large printout. It's the next draft of the budget, which is dated today, so that you don't have to go through and compare any changes that have been made to any line items or highlighted in pink. So that'll make it easier for you to look at those if you do those.
No, I just you asked, they give you an answer. That's what you asked.
We must split.
I have an updated presentation for you. You have the expenditure budget in front of you. And this PowerPoint is the revenue budget. So if you turn to the back of the large 11 by 17 that's stayed together, that's your expenditure budget. The bottom line is the same amount that's in the far right corner on the screen. That's labeled the March 26th draft. You can see total revenues equal what you're seeing at the bottom of the draft of 194, 075, 477. So you can see that this, not to jump to the punchline, but the tax levy cap calculation, which we went through the calculation, I'll review it again tonight. The allowable levy is 4.37%, but you can see in the far right column that there have been changes made to the revenue budget such that the March 26th draft of the revenue budget is now at a 3.21% levy increase. You can see some of the changes which were made were appropriating more fund balance, and this is done to relieve the tax levy. An increase in the workers' comp reserve, so we're allocating, we're appropriating more reserves as a revenue source. Looking back at last year's compensated absences that were paid out to teachers under the collective bargaining agreement amounted to approximately $500,000, which enables us to reasonably appropriate $500,000 from that code. And the employee retirement system reserve, that's the next line at 2.9. That's remained constant. We anticipate an unemployment expenditure which could be $90,000 this year. So likewise, we are going to access that revenue from the reserves. So you can see where we've made changes to relieve the amount to be raised by taxes. And that's why the levy is lower than what we're allowed to levy by virtue of the controller's calculation. There's nothing that has changed here. We only still have the January executive budget proposal from the state. When the budget is on time from the state, we will get a draft of the enacted, the actual projected budget, so that it's gone through the final approval of the houses. And we get that, when the budget is on time, March 31st, April 1st, but I hear that the state budget may be late. So this is the same information as was presented on March 12th. Here is the tax levy cap calculation, which all school districts in New York State must do in accordance with what the controller of New York State requires. This is a close-up. So the idea of the levy cap calculation is that we are limited in how much we are allowed to levy. The 2% that we hear about all the time is how much the CPI component of the levy is allowed to increase, even if the CPI goes up by more than 2%. This year it did, it went up by 2.44%. That's what is the 2% ceiling in the calculation. But there are more elements to the calculation because there are obligations that the district must meet. So staying at just the 2% CPI would not allow school districts to meet their obligations of their debt service requirements, their pension contributions for both the teachers' retirement system and the employees' retirement system, which we are legally obligated to fulfill. So the calculation goes on past that 2% that you see in the middle here, the allowable levy growth factor, to include an allowance for a capital levy exclusion only for this year, since the ERS and TRS did not meet the threshold of exceeding 2%. If they had met that threshold and made over a 2% increase in those pension contribution rates, we would have had exclusions for those two pensions as well. But we don't see an exclusion for that because the change was not in that direction. However, there is a capital levy exclusion. This portion of the calculation takes into account the district's debt service obligations. It's offset by state aid for building aid that we receive. It also factors in any capital expenditures that we made from prior transfers to capital, and bus purchases, which we're not projecting any for next year. And that's how the capital levy portion of the calculation happens. So besides the 2%, we had available carryover of $1,861,588. We also had the capital levy exclusion of $988,295, and that is the result of the calculation, which comes to an allowable levy of $570,378, and that translates to a 4.37% tax levy increase. This is the calendar that I just put up to keep us mindful of where we're going. The next budget meeting will be on April 9th. We will likely have additional changes to the budget. We are hopeful that we'll have the final legislative estimate of the state budget, although I'm not hearing positive rumors at this point. But we will certainly work in those numbers as soon as we have them. And then the budget adoption has to happen April 16th. And then we have our budget hearing on May 7th. We'll be going around to civic organizations before the vote and after the budget
Are you
adoption.
going to do that in April? That's my question. Are you going to be able to go to the civics and, because sometimes our meetings are after that or after the voting date. So I know April is a good month in May. Are you going to be able to do that in April as well?
We are pushing for them to accept our request to be invited prior to the vote.
You're invited to
That's
the RCA on April 11th.
Yes, my secretary has a schedule. We're trying, because that's the whole point, to get the message out before the vote.
I know because April is, I know it's the 9th is our meeting, right?
Yes, and the biggest issue with having something out before April 16th is that we haven't actually adopted the budget.
But then you'll be missing a lot of the civic meetings, I think. And some of the PTA meetings because they're after the vote.
It is a problem, but honestly, without having the budget be formally adopted by the board, which happens on the 16th, we really don't have a budget yet. We have a proposed budget, but we don't
You
have
can
an
say that,
adopted budget.
like, if you came to the RCA meeting, which we'll say is on the 11th, just for an example, it's on the 11th, it's not on the 16th. It's proposed, it's not adopted. We can tell the members that it will be adopted on the 16th, hopefully. And then somebody else in May can always update them or send out an email. We can update them that way.
I would
This way, at
like
least
to
we
do
get
that.
to, yeah, this
I'd
way
like
we
to
can get
see
to as
if
many
we're
people.
actually allowed to do that.
Okay, that's what I want to know. That's my question. So even like a PTA,
I can't see why you wouldn't be allowed to talk about a proposed budget.
and then
Subject
when
to
it is, right, subject
by
to
the
approval.
board,
And then we can always send out an
further
email.
discussion by the
PTAs.
board.
Right.
It's just proposed.
I would certainly like to do that.
Would that make it easier?
Oh, yes.
So, thank you for giving us the, actually personally letting me know.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for your attention.
Sharon, can you just put the slide back up where we are right now with the draft?
Yeah, I almost did that. Reading my mind.
So I just want to call the board's attention to it. Where we are right now.
This one. The one, I think this is the one, that's the one.
So my administrative staff and I went through our line-by-line original draft, and as we always do, we look at each line by line and see where we can tighten our belts in order to get the tax levy down. So you'll see that at our first calculation, our first draft, it was up to the tax levy limit, which was the 4.37. The current permutation of the draft in front of you right now does include some staffing changes, as we spoke about, as Mr. Nucci spoke about a few weeks ago. With the decreasing enrollment, we are looking at making some excesses. And so there's pieces there, as well as Mrs. Donnelly has prepared her draft of what she believes the fund balance will look like, which would allow us to put in more money as appropriated fund balance in that top line, bringing the total raised by taxes down now to 3.21%. So I just wanted to call your attention to that, because if you are interested in putting together the PLUS program in third grade next year, the levy right now would be 337, including that 0.16 for that pilot program in third grade. So I just wanted to call your attention to that.
Can I ask you a question? And it might be Sharon that I'm asking this question too, but I really think it's probably gonna be Tina or Linda. There was some each school district has their own budget, they put in stuff that they want, like office furniture, for example, at the high school. Is there a way to cut some of those things? Because some of those things are increasing our tax levy limit and they're not really helping kids. And this is a high budget year, so maybe we could have each school cut 10% across the board. No office furniture for the high school or for the, you know what I mean? Has that been considered?
We did not change the principal's lines at this point. One of the reasons why is we have moved into departmental offices for our curriculum departments, which we had never had in the past, in order to have more aligned professional development as well as curriculum development, grading, putting curriculum together during their professional periods. We wanted a place for them to meet. So we actually did originally cut Mr. Costa, who wanted significantly more money to put together those.
Just use the.
No, but we do that ahead of time. We sit with each principal and we say, you're asking for too much in these codes, because we knew that the budget was coming in a little bit higher than we wanted it to be. So we did slow down his rollout of the creation of those rooms. So everything has been vetted at this point, in the principal's budgets.
So you're saying that there's no way to cut any more out of their budgets?
I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is that they were all vetted, and they were, quite a few of the director's budgets and the principal's budgets were cut prior to even going into draft 1 for you folks.
For school. I mean, some of the things that they're asking for are not related to children, and we really have to get back to that if we want to have our community accept that kind of number. Yeah, well, that was a great example.
Dean, can I ask you a question too?
Yes.
Professional development program, how much do we plan on spending on it this year?
If you want me to ask you another question, just give me a second.
I want to go to Ray's question then.
I'll answer
While
it.
we're waiting. While we're waiting for your question, Ray had a question about the interest rates. That's a great way to bring up some revenue.
So I'm looking at the 3.21.
Put your microphone on, Ray.
I'm sorry. So I'm looking at the 3.21, and I really like the program that was just presented to us with the languages. That's an extra 0.16, right? So it's going up, like you said, 3.37. When I was reading through the interest rates on our major accounts, we have one account that's at $62 million. And we get a lower interest rate on that account than we get on the one that's at $300,000. So it just led me to start questioning that. If we can find 1% more on the $62 million, let's shop the banks and say, look, I get $62 million. I want 1% more than what I'm getting now. It's over $600,000 a year. We're talking about $400,000 for this language program for 3 years. So I'm just throwing this out there. When we're looking at how can we make this happen? Let's find 1% more on $62 million.
And
then we don't have to raise it from 3.21. We do that now?
We're already looking into that. We've negotiated with the bank prior, and they've raised the return on that account. We don't have that money all year long. We get a big lump in starting at December, January, when taxes are collected. And now we're looking into short-term timeline investment for the CD. So we're doing the cash flow projections to see how long we can be without a lump of sum large enough to warrant either.
Like laddering on the CDs?
So yeah, we can do that as well. But the best return will be 90 days if we can, I have to be able to pay back our
Maybe not of
short-term.
interest, that could help us a lot.
Absolutely, as long as I can meet our obligation to pay back our short-term borrowing for a tax anticipation note. So I don't know if we can go for the full time, but that's exactly what information is being.
But even if you just, if it's right for them to pull that $662 million out of there and put in the other one, that gives us a bigger interest rate, another percent.
Absolutely.
You made a great point, that's awesome.
That is a great point.
Okay, I'd like to see.
No, wait.
Yeah.
I have the number. So we roughly, so I'll talk a little bit what's planned for next year. Is that okay, too?
Perfect.
So we are moving into our, the reading phase of our professional development for our elementary schools. We started with the writing program, and now we're moving into the reading program. We're also working with our middle schools on finishing up their writing program that they developed. We have some ELA professional development, alignment of the standards for some of the new courses at the high school, world languages, looking at co-teaching, as well as SIOP, which is a co-teaching model for our ENL students, and some Z-Space professional development. Right now, it's about $230,000 budgeted for next year.
What was it the year before that? Because I know it's been going up since 4 years ago. Is it going up from last year?
We never had it before.
No, we're actually,
We never spent anything on it.
the budget's probably like $50,000 less than last year.
Okay, so.
I got a question. Can I bring you back over that? Dean, I just got a question. When the teachers go out and they go to their classes, the program, we have to get substitutes in, correct? So I know we have a grade of absentee thing. That's why I'm concerned we're spending a lot of money on substitutes. And I've spoken to teachers, and I'm not gonna, teachers have said that some of it's overbearing, it's too much, it's repetitive. And so, and we're spending too much money on it, and now we're not only spending money on the program, we're also spending money on a substitute teacher coming in.
So that's a great point.
If they don't like it, and they're not getting anything out of it,
Why are we spending?
isn't there a way to maybe send less teachers and have them teach how teachers?
So we do a lot of feedback and get a lot of feedback from our teachers, as well as from the CTA, our building principals. It definitely, the time out of classrooms has been a concern of ours, as well as the multiple initiatives that we have going forward. It is being reduced next year, so we will not be doing any math pullouts at the elementary level for professional development. The reading units of study that we're implementing and professional development is a significant decrease on the pullouts next year. So I'll just
So
quickly...
does that line go down?
It's a 38% decrease financially, but from a... So just to give you a brief example, in 1819, the pullouts, the professional development days was a combination of probably 130 days of professional development. It's not 130 full days, but it's a number of days that teachers periodically pull
We're getting
out.
substitutes.
So we're reducing that significantly. We're going to 10 days per building on the elementary level at the discretion of the building principal. So they're going to develop their professional development plans, and it's not a full day being pulled out of the classroom. So it's a significant, we have met with the CTA leadership to discuss this as well. It was one of their concerns, and it's something that we addressed in this current budget.
So wait, now they're gonna get, I'm sorry, can I just pick up on that?
Yeah.
They're gonna get pulled out of the classroom for half a day and then have to travel
No,
somewhere
no,
else?
the way that professional development will work is it'll be more push into the classroom.
Oh,
So it's a combination of push and pull out. So we definitely heard that, and it's something we're being responsive to. We're also coming to the conclusion of a lot of our, some of our initiatives, like the mathematics at the elementary level, as well as the writing at the elementary level.
Let's, how about a teacher that's been here for 15 years, 20 years? Do we give them the option of going or not going?
you just say.
Prior to my arrival, that was the case, and what ended up happening is we had too much variety going on in the classrooms, so our kids weren't getting a common experience across our elementary schools. So as our students were exiting the elementary schools, they had different skills and abilities. And that was something that was of great concern to that inward, and it was something that we addressed.
So there's no option, is what he's saying?
Well, the one I think you're hearing about is something we're doing, it's called benchmarking. And we have different levels of experience within the district, and we try to be as responsive as possible in providing professional development to those teachers. So if you want to look at it, the skill level or the knowledge level went like this across the district. What we tried to do is flatten it out, and I am sure that there were times that teachers felt it was redundant. That feedback was taken, and we adjusted those next sessions with those teachers.
Thanks.
I have, since we're looking to cut money in things that don't affect children, is there a way that, find it necessary for the first actual two items that pertain to the Board of Education? One is, to increase, for additional dinners, and the other one is for two additional
I think
conferences.
we should decrease ours by 10% here.
I think,
I'd
well,
say
personally,
25.
I wouldn't even add on the 19,000.
Well, that's because you already got your training, right?
Yeah, you know how I got my training? I went to Scope,
Yep,
dinners, I
yes.
learned some things from there, but most of my training actually got from the webinar, which we already paid. I went to I went to New York City one time, and I felt that a lot of that information, I can actually Google and find, talk to neighboring districts and what they implement. So, and that's not being taken out of the budget. This is actually being, more money included to go to various other places, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
national is really pricey, and if my board members decide to go.
Five
It's
board
not gonna
members will
happen,
never
so it doesn't make
Five board
sense.
members.
Lower that price 25%.
So anyway, so to increase that budget line by,
My board members go.
You're talking about $23,000.
to increase that budget by $20,000, and then the additional 4 on the other one,
Right, so
that's
decrease it back
another
down.
23-something thousand dollars that could be put on towards the
Good, so
Spanish
decrease
program.
that back down, and then decrease everybody's budget by that amount. Across the board.
Well, no, this is actually new items that were added, because if you look at the prior year, those numbers, the prior year was
Were higher and then they went down.
950, and then, for the other conference was 4,500. Now it's increased to 24,000, and on the other item, it's increased, another 4,000, over 4,000.
The
So-
total.
Oh, wait a second, wait, can we stop for a second? If someone wants to go to national, one person to represent the board, you don't need 2 people, you don't need 5 people to represent. One person.
I think you need to,
You know,
you feed off of each other and you work together, it's a lot of fun. It's my opinion.
I know,
wouldn't wanna
I know,
go.
I
I would love to
agree.
go with
You know
Greg.
what, I really don't
would
need
go
that
with you.
vacation, so I just went on.
I would love to go with one other person just because you can piggyback and stuff. It's a better experience when you bring a person. Maybe Lee, you would like to go on, that's great, you can go to that one. You can go to all of them, I'm fine with that. Me personally, I wanna go with Ray, I like what I mean by Linwood, I would rather go with, I'm speaking out loud, I don't know what anybody else.
I know.
I agree, and I have to tell you, walking around talking to the other people, the other board members that are there, learning what they're learning from their other seminars, plus being on the floor learning from the contractors, I thought it was a great experience.
Wait, I've gone to the state one many, many times, believe me. It's not, I mean, I don't know.
And I don't think we're ever gonna have those fireworks going, it's tough for us to get away.
In the 12 years I've been coming here, 5 years, never once.
So that's why I
I've
think
gone
we
to
should
the
lower
state
that,
quite a few times.
lower that number, no, I have no problem with it.
I think we should lower every number.
But I do think, if you're looking to lower it, it's not.
At least start with us, that's fine.
It's not a good place to lower.
All right, so then where can we lower this to so that we can actually help with this?
25%.
What?
Take the drafted budget, take 25% off of everything.
Who's 25% off of everything?
You
The whole
said-
entire budget?
No.
Yeah, one by each of the things.
That's
So-
fine.
The board
so
thing
the
is
board-
25,000, make it 20.
Right, so then you also have, don't all the cabinet members go on conferences too? Lower theirs by 25%. And it goes on conferences, I know, Dean, I know you've gone, Sharon, you've gone, I don't know if Mr. Nucci goes, right? Yeah, I don't think that you've gone to any, right?
But lower these, talk about
Lower them all,
25%.
lower them all, across the board.
Save us money and it's, I don't think we're gonna use it all anyway, so it'll help us in the long run, but not by much anyway, but it'll help.
No, this is not that much money, it's a big ticket.
I mean, you brought it up, just give us a suggestion.
So we're lowering the first line or the second line?
Both lines.
Okay, so the first line, what would you like your draft for Board of Education supplies and materials to be?
I don't even know what we use for supplies and materials.
Why
What
did
do we
you go
use?
up? Oh, because, to add dinners, no, bring it back down to the 950. Bring it back to 950.
That's way more than 25%, to be percent.
Yeah, so what are we gonna do, you wanna lower everything 80%? I mean, I don't care, Mylan, but you gotta have,
But then it's gotta be everybody all around, of
it's
course,
gotta
the
be,
board.
yeah, you gotta be consistent, yeah.
Well, no, this is
Show
us.
consistency, that's all I'm
This is
asking
us.
for.
Yeah,
Don't
so,
pick and choose, okay, this
Yeah,
one
but see,
80%,
again, you've
this
been on
one
the board
30.
5 years, you've done this, so you know, you've gotten the training. I'm brand new, I went to one for that
nobody
training.
said you can't
And
have
I learned a
opinion.
lot.
I'm
The
gonna get
one
back to the
conference that I
original
went to.
budget.
But now you guys went to all yours, so now it's time for you guys to lower it.
It's going back to the original budget when Lee and I started, well, when I started.
See, I
I'm
go to-
fine with lowering, lower it, just keep going, but
It
you
was
should,
1,500, but
do
you
a
gotta do it across
percentage.
the board.
Should just take one thing and say, okay, let's just lower it to this, let's just lower it.
Do a percentage.
Well, I think the board, that should go back to 950. Or round it up to 1,000.
That's just supplies and materials.
Yeah, round it up to
Yeah,
1,000.
but they're including that for dinners though.
Yes, including the dinners, round it up to 1,000.
They're including that with those school dinners.
No, that's,
No, this is,
I would put that at 2,000 if you don't want to lower it down, just so you have a little wiggle room in case you need to buy stuff. It's not gonna happen, but it could happen.
so you want it at 2,000? All right, so
Well, if
then
they
make it,
propose 5, we're taking off 60% going to 2,000.
So you're making it $2,010.
No, 2,000.
You're lowering it $2,000.
No, he's making it 2,000 even.
2,000 even? Okay. That's what I said, you're lowering it by
That's what I was
3,000.
just giving you.
Did you get it, Shirley?
But I don't think you should, I
And
think you,
would
the
that
contract
still
is you
work?
can lower.
Is that
That's just
workable number?
supplies and material.
Well,
I don't know if it works. She made that number
the
for a
reason it was
reason.
increased
She did her
was that,
homework.
just the reason it was increased was that, we spoke about having dinner available for the board and the administrators prior to the board meeting, prior to the
Oh, wait,
executive
wait, I'm
session.
raising my hand to that one.
Okay.
I don't even know, they say, I don't even know if that's legal, because that was done before my time, and that was stopped when I
Oh,
first got on
that
the
kind of
board.
dinner?
Yes.
No, no.
Yes,
Okay,
if you read
is
it,
that
it
why it
says
was
it right
raised
there.
I thought you meant the scope dinners.
No, if you read the,
said
if
you
you read the
had dinner.
explanation,
I didn't
you know
know
what
that.
it is.
Ah.
So is that why it was raised mostly?
Yes. Bring it back to I would say bring it back to 1,000.
I would just bring it to 2,000, so you have a little bit.
Right, like you say, sometimes you come
What
in
if
at
we come in at 3 o'clock and then we get
Right,
to
and
midnight?
I would leave it at 2
Then you
grand.
get,
Yeah, you can lower that one. I don't think we need that one.
yes, because,
I'm okay
when
with
I
that.
first got on the board, it was fancy dinners every night.
No, we don't need
board
fancy
meeting.
All right, so that's taking down to 2,000, okay?
Yes,
So we
I'm okay
saved
with
about $3,000 there. The $24,000,
Go to
the
50.
the original budget
do
was
it as-
40, the original budget was $4,500.
So then do it as 2
15.
additional conferences with 3 people instead of 5 board of men.
Just put it
I
at
don't think you
15.
can do that. You have to put a monetary number. What's the
15.
monetary number?
15.
15,000? So you jacked it up from 10,000 from the prior year.
Yeah, just so you have leeway, just in case 3 want to come. It's not the end of the world, man.
Yeah, but it's not like if we don't.
She already
we
put
don't
in 25, we're taking it away. What do you want to do, take the whole thing away? If you want it, that's one, go ahead.
Isn't the idea to try to
Lower
offset
it.
some of this cost so that we
We are,
can pay
Yeah, we
for the
are.
class?
25 to 15. Because
Just
you
go
know,
up,
I tell you, I got a lot of things I'd like lowered, so if we can
you
keep
just
going.
took $13,000 just from the Board of Ed lines. So, I mean, how much can we take off to the whole thing? You wanna go line by line? Let's do it.
Oh, my God.
I'll
Oh,
be
that's
here all
all.
night. Come on, I got all night.
No way, I'm
That's
saying.
what I'm trying
No,
to
no,
say.
I'm not micromanaging this.
All right, so
And-
you're gonna bring it down to 15?
So then you want, if Eileen wants to go line by line, we'll go line by line.
Well, I
say
did this whole
25%
weekend,
across the board.
I prepared myself over the weekend, I know my questions ahead of time.
Oh,
don't
good,
need
I
to go
was
line by
away.
line.
I was away,
So
I had
what
a
it-
very
so-
good time with that.
So what do you wanna do?
Can I ask, Mary Jane, I know you made that number for a reason. Can I just ask you the reason? That's why I want to know.
She says it right here, for 5 board members, so we
So it's
said
5 board members for the whole year to go away on how many trips?
2 more.
To appropriate for all board members if they'd like to attend.
How many
That
trips?
was,
How many? For one?
it was for the nationals and a National School Board Association and the ITL, which I'm not sure exactly what that
Two
stands for. That was-
conferences.
Yeah, it was two
Two
conferences.
conferences during the year.
And
Do we pay both
Wait,
these
let's
or scope to be
And I
part of?
believe it was also to include for the NISBA annual, so that you can appropriate for all 5 board members if they wanted to attend. You know, and then it was for all 5 board members for each conference.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think you go down to 3 safely. We're not going to get all 5 no matter what, you know. And it gives us the option just in case 3 do it. So I would
I
take
said we
away,
should lower that budget to 12,000.
you can take away 40%, so whatever 40%.
I would say,
Figure out 40% of
yeah, bring it down to
25,000.
$13,000.
You just said
Just
50,
do
now we're
20,
going
just
down
do
to 12.
40%, 25,000, please.
Okay.
Just give me the number and then we can do it that way.
I'm good with what I just said. Because the NISBA, you
What is
know,
40%?
15, bring it down to 15,000. All right, so there, this,
the other lines didn't change really that much.
that's roughly $12,000. No, actually more, $13,000.
Yeah.
60%.
Just took 60% of the budget.
Yes, 13.
I'm fine with that too, that's one of the other ones.
It's still $10,000, actually $10,500 more than the prior year budget.
So let's go to the legal fees. That went up considerably. Yeah, well, it's not her fault, it's the board's fault. I hope we not be able to call for legal fees until we get a consensus. And it's gonna cost $500,000 in legal fees.
Can we do that?
What?
She said the legal fees are on the line. So if we can try and control
Even with the one where we call you. That's the one I'm talking about. The one where we call you.
how can we do that?
That's the one that's gotta go down. What page you wanna look at? So look at the one where we call them. Where is that? Additional legal services. We started at $350,000. We went to $521,000. We adopted it at $400,000, and I don't even know what we already spent. How much did we spend of the $400,000 this year so far, Karen? We're not even at June yet. You don't have to answer that. That's the one that needs to come down. $400,000.
But across the board with these numbers, they're based on projected actuals for this year, trending,
I know,
so
I know. But some of the conferences we can't control, so we have conferences all over the place.
I'm fine with it.
Well, that's just for BOE. I mean, now we have to lower it for the superintendent, for the assistant superintendent for business, for the, who else goes on conferences?
Well, what
Curriculum?
Did they spend that this year?
No, we increased theirs too. We increased Linda's the same way, the same amount that we just increased ours, so we need to take Linda's back down too. All right, knock it down. Where do you want to knock it down to?
Where is it?
So everything that's been budgeted in here has backup with what we expect to expense. The reason that my code went up for travel and conferences is because I go to the conferences with the board.
So
if,
knock that back down.
then I won't be going to the conferences with the board. So when 3 board members go, it'll be 3 board members without the superintendent.
But you're at 122% increase.
Yes,
So-
because you are looking to go to ITL and NISBA annual. So those 2 additional conferences were put
I
into
don't
my
know what
code.
ITL is. I thought it was the NISBA one and the national one. So I don't even know what ITL is.
It was, I believe it was one in Philadelphia, but I'm not sure exactly. There were 2. There was one in Albany, and there was one in Philadelphia. I'm not,
I don't
Yeah.
know which one that was.
okay.
I know that
there were
Linda
2
told us about the national one. We thought it was a great idea, and then we got voted down. So that was fine. But then we added it into the budget.
But there's still some people who go there.
Yeah, if we leave it like this, but this year we weren't allowed to go.
We had no money that way.
It wasn't budgeted. Now it's budgeted.
Okay, so good, so,
So she's the company and the people.
Once I can't stand
you can reduce it a little bit, no?
5 people can't go, 5 people won't go.
Linda, what we're saying is you're not gonna, we're probably not
Ellen
gonna
already
go
said she
there.
doesn't go. She's already learned everything through the webinar.
Well,
She
I don't
needs
care
to
what
go.
we do. I don't think it's gonna affect you if you took it down 20%.
So I have to go back to the backup because nothing is put in here with just magic numbers. So if the board wanted to go to 2 additional conferences, then
You
the
need to
district
spend
clerk.
11,000, is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that those numbers were put in there so that the superintendent could go support the board at those additional conferences. If you don't want me to attend those conferences, then you can certainly go back down, but the professional conferences that I go to are to make sure that our school district is moving in the right direction. I go to legal conferences, I go to special education conferences, I go to curriculum conferences. It's so that I can remain upfront with all the things that are happening in the areas. But very encouraged, so the district can continue to move forward. All these programs don't materialize out of the air. We come back from conferences that are different than the ones that you go to. My code got put up because you folks wanted to go to more conferences. Generally, the superintendent attends with the board. So if you don't want me to attend with you, that's absolutely fine. I will go back and I will take those 2 conferences off. That's fine. Honestly, the NISBA conference this year is in Rochester.
I'd rather not go to Rochester. So if you want me to cut Rochester, NSBA, and ITL out, then I can certainly take that down, but I don't want to cut that without having the backup to say, if we put additional 3,000 in there for that, let's cut that. And then I will not be attending those conferences if any board members attend. If you want me to do that, I can certainly do that, but I'm not going to do that willy-nilly right now without the evidence of what those numbers were.
Are you going on a conference?
I'll go to Rochester, I'll go. As the Nationals are in California, maybe I'll go.
They've been California.
And they've been in San Diego.
They've been a lot, they move around the country. That's why that budget line is high, because you need to put in flights.
The Nationals could be anywhere.
NISBA 2 years ago was in Buffalo, we did fly to Buffalo.
Yes, I was there.
We did not drive to Buffalo. And the year before it was so low because we did not go to NISBA, which was up in late classes, so the money was.
If you don't really want to cut, I'm okay with taking you out both to Rochester, so that's fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear how you.
If you don't want to attend those, and you don't want to go, take them out. Give that to me.
No, generally the superintendent likes to go to the, I
You just
enjoy
said,
going to
I'm
the.
just going by what you just
No,
said.
Rochester's not my favorite city, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I don't like the conference. The NISBA conferences are invaluable, and I think the board should attend as a leadership team. That's why the superintendent tends to go. And if you guys are going to go to those other ones, I would like to be there as well. But if you don't want me to, then I'll take it out of the.
No, I thought you said you didn't want to go.
Yeah, I just don't like Rochester. It's not easy to get to. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not like Kansas City.
It is a lot. That's what I'm saying. If you want to go through line by line, there's a lot of stuff that we do. And don't affect children. Like office furniture.
I disagree that that doesn't affect children, because we are putting those offices together so that the curriculum team can talk to each other, rather than be in their separate classrooms.
You can
So,
talk to each other in a conference room, though. They don't have to have separate office furniture. I mean, Ken's got a conference room in his office.
they're never gonna be in a conference room. That conference room is used for parent conferences with the students, with the principal. If you don't want us to move forward with the curriculum offices, then we can certainly do that. But people
I'm
now
just saying,
share.
each school building, I bet, could cut 10% out of their budget without hurting kids. Especially if you want the public to approve 3.21%. We want them to have more money for their kids.
We're trying to find ways to take away the money, not affecting kids and giving
I
kids.
truly understand that.
And Ray just added in $600,000.
It's not a bad thing.
Well, he's
Only
gonna.
if it gets, only if we get that insurance.
Oh, that's right.
So I mean, we could cut and add and do more for kids. That's what we're here for, no?
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So what do you want to cut? I just say 15,000.
Who's here?
Those first two line items.
Thanks, Myla.
Okay, that's okay, we're done.
Listen, I saved, was it over 250 last week? What else? I saved 250,000, and what was the other
Thank
one?
you.
So anybody else can cut?
I just
I've been
said,
No,
I said down the line. There you
I'm
go.
gonna go and, listen, I did my homework at home, I came in with cuts,
And I
I
just
gave those
said,
cuts
10% down
last
the line,
week,
that's my homework.
and I gave my cuts today, so without watching everybody go line by line.
That's why I said 20% per building. Or 10% per building, sorry, 10%.
And it affects children.
Not at the, not in the grand scheme. If you look at all the other things, the instruction, leave the instruction alone, leave that stuff alone. But there's other things on here that, non-instructional crap that doesn't need to be.
What
Well,
page?
like, talk about the
Per
furniture.
school, per school. Each school had their own principal's budget.
Cut it.
I can cut furniture. We've got lots of furniture.
Not cut it off, lower it.
On the basic, there's the furniture that's in it.
What page are we, what pages is all on?
There was a principal, one of the things that Sharon sent us was each school.
What page?
Four.
Page one? Principal's expenditures?
There you go. Principal's equipment. Principal supplies.
Yes, it's non-instruction.
Non-instructional crap. Well, the first line even on this is non-instructional RMS. I don't even know what that means, but it's $294,000. What is it?
What is it?
Actually, these lines have already been cut.
But what is it that was spent?
Wait a minute, so which one of these lines increased that you want to cut? Because I'm actually looking at non-instructional for RMS. This is already taken down $750. You want to cut it more?
Non-instructional, Duffield went,
You want to cut it more? We can,
adopted budget from 129 to 130, so that's an increase. And you have, non-instructional,
okay.
well,
Those are actually people. So you're looking at salaries,
okay.
and they're probably TAs, they're probably clericals, they're probably, so you're actually looking at human beings at this point.
Well, thanks for telling me that, I appreciate that. So principals, equipment, that's not people, right, that's equipment. Right?
Yes, when you start to look at the
So we added
2020s,
in $1,000 there, that's,
where are you talking about?
adopted budget was 1819. Oh, you went down to $900, you got rid of that.
You have to put us on the team. Where are you looking?
I'm on page 4.
Okay, what line item?
Hold on. Where is the one with the printed furniture? I don't have my copy.
2020, 200, 22, 000, that's what you're
Principals,
speaking about.
equipment, yeah, there you go. 2020, 200, 22, 0000.
Yes.
So it went from, yeah, 28,000. So you added 833%.
That's some sort of equipment, for what?
What is
It
it gold?
says purchase desk, 3,028.
Yeah.
So some of those purchases are for the students who are now going to be in the AP capstone programs. Because if you had a chance to go see the AP capstone program, we invited you in to see that, you would have seen the flexible desks that we now are using in those kind of programs so that kids can group, regroup, and ungroup. So those are actually part of those, and the principal's equipment are to purchase desks for students. Again, I need the backup in front of me. The other piece of that is to create the curriculum offices because we are pulling people out of being in rooms all day long and being in isolated silos and moving them into offices for each curriculum area. However, if you want to do that more slowly, we can certainly take that down, but we have to actually look, and I don't have the entire backup. We did cut that because he did request additional monies for that, but some of that is the supply of the desks for kids and for teachers. If you'd like to take all the teacher equipment out, we can certainly do that.
This is for kids.
Maybe the teachers should have.
No, this is for
The
kids.
principal stuff.
It's not for the principal, it's the principal's fund so that he can do things in his building. It's not just for the principal.
Yeah, right.
So we get a copy of what we spent the money on then? Saying it can be for desk and children.
We can get you the backup for that code.
Which code is it?
The principal's equipment at the high school. You know, some of that was flexible desks for the children,
Is that the 2020, 200?
2200.
That's furniture for 7 teacher workspaces.
Okay, I'm sorry, that was the teacher workspaces.
There you go.
So we're cutting that? I didn't say to cut it.
We asked Ken to actually slow that down, we asked him for a lot more money. He was giving each one of the curricular areas $3,000 to start creating spaces for the teachers to collaborate.
I think we should keep that going. That has to do with kids.
I also have to just slow everybody down for a second because we have not gotten the complete state budget back yet. So it's possible that we will be getting additional monies. We were cut in the original executive budget. However, generally what happens between now and the next board meeting is we get the final run from the government to say what the budget will look like, and generally we get a slight bump. So without cutting this, we could potentially decrease the tax levy if that bump comes in. This is a big process. This is a big process. We start this process in November with the principals, directors, Mrs. Donnelly, Mr. Middleman, myself. We sit with everyone and we make them give us real reasons why they're looking for this money in order to make our program better. So this has gone through many permutations for months and months of discussion. If there are certain codes that you'd like to see the backup for and what is actually being purchased, we can certainly supply that if you let me know what that looks like.
All right, thank you. I'm ready to move on.
we're taking a big step backwards doing this line by line thing.
No, we're not, we're
We
going.
take a lot of time to go through and do the line by line explanations. I can't tell you how long
I
it
looked at
takes.
line by line, because mine was.
So if you, but certainly, if you need more detail, we can get that. But for, Dean to run up to his office and get it, must be floundering. We have huge binders, we can certainly, what is that, Eileen?
Nothing, I said nothing.
Well, I don't know, it's so funny.
I was laughing at something Mark said.
What was that?
It was nothing.
I said to her not to be.
Because we can certainly do that, but we went through, we developed this process, expanded this process, so we don't have the arduous, tedious task of going on.
No, I agree, this is perfect.
But certainly, we have detail sheets for each number, and that's a good question, and we can get that for you. But we're defeating the purpose if we're just going to do it without advance notice and
Well, I did ask to meet with you,
floundering.
Sharon, I hadn't gotten an answer back, so I.
You asked that question about what, I'm
I
sorry?
did ask to meet with you.
And we scheduled a meeting for that.
No, today was, I couldn't attend that meeting, had some legal, it was an open meeting, and it should have been open meeting for the entire.
Well, it wasn't for line by line, but what we've done is,
Yeah, well, it was an open meeting, it wasn't.
In the
without that,
past,
so.
see, we have to be productive here.
Right, but
So let me
workshops are
answer your
open meeting
question.
laws. So
I-
that's
I-
why I couldn't attend that today.
I don't want to get into a debate.
Okay.
I want to say how we have a productive meeting is you review the budget and you send me email questions. And then you can ask them in public, and I have the backup loop.
Okay.
We were reverting back to a very ineffective means of going through this.
I thought it would be easier if I met with you and asked all my questions there, because there were so many, then for me to type them out, and you to get this, maybe misinterpret what I'm typing. I
But
could
we used
explain
to
it
do
right
that
there.
all the time, the book was out.
Yeah,
And it was no problem. I understood what you wrote, you understood what I answered.
all right, let's keep
That's never been a problem.
I think we got on a line by line tangent because we found some good savings in the first two lines.
Yes,
But I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
I am
Said
too.
that 10 minutes ago.
Okay, I need a motion and second to suspend the business budget meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion and second to enter into audit committee meeting. Second, all in favor?
Email today. Here's the stuff. Yeah, it doesn't say who the
Our auditors.
Okay. All right, it just didn't have their name anywhere, so I didn't know who did it. It says it on here, it doesn't say it on here.
Any deletions?
Because we received more than $750,000 in grants, we are required to have what's called a single audit done by our external auditors. They're the same auditors who do our financial audit. You may recognize the same dark blue binding. So they reviewed all the grants that you can see on page 1. Title I, special education, English language acquisition, school lunch, among others. And the purpose of their audit is to express an opinion on the district's compliance for each of our major federal programs based on their audit of the federal statutes, regulations, and terms and conditions of the federal awards applicable to our federal programs. If you turn to page 6, you will see we have no financial statement findings to be reported, which is a stellar report. No findings, so we're in excellent shape, fully compliant, with no corrective action plan needed since there are no findings to address. So I'm asking for you to accept this report, please.
Can you make a motion for that?
I need a motion and a second to accept
Motion.
federal single audit report of June 30, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so we're adjourning the audit committee meeting. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're reconvening into the business portion of the meeting. I need a motion and a second. Second.
Second.
Wait a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to policy. We have, what? Administrative regulation for information only. I just found that. Okay, we're moving on to the third part, which is the approval, first reading, and adoption. Lee and Eileen, you sat on the committee. Are you satisfied with the changes that were done for the first?
Reading is what?
So that is policy 1400, and that brings us in compliance with the new ESSA regulations
Right, that I know.
and our Title I grant. So that was more of a legal requirement for us.
All right, so then I need a motion and a second for that.
Motion.
Second, all in favor? All right, moving on to the adoption of the second reading.
I want to stop at 2110. This language on number 11, this red language here, that was not what we got from the attorney. It was an email from the attorney, and it was a little bit different than what's here. I thought we were using the language from the attorney. And I didn't catch it on the first reading, I'm sorry, but I did catch it on the second reading.
So table it, and we'll put the different draft up next time.
Okay,
Which
thank you.
policy? 2110.
Yeah, that was it was just a little bit different. The attorney gave us better language.
So we're tabling that?
Yeah,
Do you
2110.
agree? All right, we're tabling the second reading.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to,
You need a motion and a second.
yeah, motion and second to accept person policies.
Motion.
All in favor? Okay, we're moving on to public comments. Step up to the podium, address the board president only. You have 30 minutes to share your concern or question. 30 seconds before your time is up, you're gonna hear beep, beep, beep. And it's just an indication to close up the concern or question.
Okay, this is about the foreign language that was brought up tonight, that I'm very involved in my elementary school, and I have not even heard anything about this. This is the first time I'm hearing it. I'm not totally against it. It's great for the kids to learn when they get to 7th grade. I'm against it for many other reasons, because there's so much going on in elementary school. So far, when I was sitting here, I heard a couple things. There's no fun in elementary school, no field trips like they used to be, not enough recess, not enough mental health support or special needs assistance, but let's put foreign language in K to 5. What about children with special needs? We have children with neurological issues, neurological tics. We have more children, especially in our school, where the classroom size got larger, with ADHD, ADD, who already have problems with learning English and Common Core. What about the added stress on the kids? What about how can we use time on foreign language over mental health services, what's going on today, or educational academics already in place? How about class size? Class size is getting larger in all of our elementary schools, especially the one that my children attend. Success of students has a lot to do with small class sizes, which we already gave up. I've looked that up many times, I've done research on it. Small class sizes is one of the #1 reasons children do better in school. They get more attention, they have more interaction with the teacher. We want to keep adding programs that seem unnecessary, additional money spent on programs that are not going to help or benefit all children excel. As if we don't have 20 minutes extra for anything, it seems, yet we want to add foreign language to younger children. The younger grades, while it may help children benefit in 7th grade, already having learned throughout their elementary years, I still feel this takes away from the mandatory academics that teachers already have a hard time getting in everything they need to each day. It's true. Time-wise, the teachers do not have enough time to teach what they already are required to teach. Now we're going to add to that with foreign language in younger grades. We're implementing less and less fun associated with learning, yet spending more and more money on programs without parent input. Children who enjoy a field trip will benefit more from a hands-on field trip or fun outing than they will from a foreign language at that young age. Why implement a foreign language program during a year where we are already coming in with a high budget? Children are struggling in these young grades, especially K to 3, with a significant number of children needing extra help in math and reading already. To add a foreign language would just put added stress on our young people, causing them more anxiety associated with learning, which is never a good thing. We have to also keep in mind with a classroom size of 24 to 26 in 3rd grade, how will one foreign language teacher keep these children's attention in a 20-minute slot?
Good points, thank you.
Stuff I think you guys need to look into, considering parents are not here tonight. Parents did not know this was going on. I'm texting parents and and so far I haven't gotten one, not one, and I talked to a lot of people. Not one has said to me, it's a good idea. And and I'm in the largest elementary school. So not one has said, so far, they want it. I don't know where you guys are getting the numbers from people that you're saying wanted it, but I think it's something that you need to really think about and look into. This might not be the year to implement it. Maybe down the road it's a great idea, but for right now, we have a budget that may not even pass. And we've always passed, but you guys are cutting things left and right or trying, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, why are we going to add all this money for a foreign language to kids who are already stressed out with anxiety? And we don't have enough mental health services to help these kids, and we're going to add foreign language on top of it.
I work at the Arboretum, and we offer free trips to schools who choose to come there. It costs nothing, it costs nothing to bus them. We've had many schools join us. And there are other schools that are choosing not to join us. I don't know.
I think it's the curriculum. I think academically, I don't think there's enough time for the field trips. I mean, I've asked teachers, because we have some of the best teachers, that's for sure. And I will tell you that a lot of them have spoken to me and told me, they just don't have the time.
Well, I'm getting Sycamore, I'm getting Dugfield, I'm getting Highlower, I'm getting Boston. They're all coming to the Arboretum.
I wish you would reach out to our school.
I reached out to all schools.
You reached out to all schools.
No, I appreciate, but I'm saying
Yeah,
our
but
school
a
is
lot of
obviously
schools-
not taking.
We had 4
initiative.
classes come from Highlower on different days. 2 4th grade classes, 2 5th grade classes. The educational and the fun that they had, learning about trees and respecting the environment was a lesson to be learned.
But explain to me what a kindergartner is going to get out of foreign language.
We're not doing it in kindergarten.
Okay, 3rd grade, I have a 3rd grader. Tell me what my 3rd grader is going to get out of foreign language.
It's not gonna happen for them.
I'm just saying, what are they going to get out of it? He's already got other issues that he's got to deal with reading and with Common Core math.
Yes, it's a reading question.
So I mean, like, what is he going to get out of foreign language? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, what are you going to get out of foreign language in regards to?
We'll show all the research regarding foreign language.
I saw it was great, it was well put together, but it still doesn't accept that the child itself. I've been in those classes. I've been class mom for years. I've helped out, and I've worked with these kids. There's no way that you're going to keep their attention or get much accomplished in a 20-minute period. And by doing that, you have to take away something, which means that you're going to take away academically, or you're going to take away from maybe some of the exercise, recess, or some of the fun that's very little left to add foreign language, which I don't think these kids are mature enough to really engulf it and really get all they should from it. I think it'd be great maybe 5th and 6th grade, maybe 6th grade, but not 3rd. That's 3rd, 4th, too young.
Lisa?
One question touching on the foreign language. Right now, we started the clubs, foreign language club in elementary. If the foreign language program goes through, the club goes away, so we're on both. Why would we have to pay for both?
Well, first, we're not paying for the clubs, it's a federal grant.
So it's still,
No, it's a full cost to the taxpayer. And the purpose of it is we would probably transition out of the clubs once it goes through the entire. So it's kind of like bolstering the experience after school, but also providing one grade level.
My other question is regarding the budget. You have here, retro pay for the units that I'm assuming are negotiating or settled or whatever each unit may be. At page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 12, and they're blank. So I'm assuming they're not, the retro pay hasn't been calculated to add into the budget, so, okay.
And allowances made in other codes that we wouldn't necessarily put in an amount that you don't know what the amount is going to be at, and while you're undergoing negotiations.
Okay, so say one of the units, they agree to a contract, and so you'll know what the retro pay is before budget time, so then that gets added in. Is basically my question.
If we know that, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
then,
But only if it's going to be expensed next year. So if the retro pay happens this year, it's not going to go in this. Correct. It'll remain zero.
okay. Well, I guess to touch on what Jackie was saying too. You know, as far as what she was saying about this year has been such a big year as far as, you know, the bond, the taxes, the higher number that we would have liked. Maybe, while I think it's a great idea, and I get we're behind the times a little bit with the foreign languages, but maybe we need to put it off a year or two, in a less idea of just spending less and the number, the tax number as well. And maybe start it at the 5th and 6th grade and back it down over time as we can do it, because it seems like we're doing what we can to, you know, look at dollars from here, dollars from there. But then if we just go and spend it again right away, it's not really a saving. So, and if the kids go through with the math and all that now, I understand you're saying it's not going to come off of recess time, not going to come off library time. I would much rather see it come off the library time than let's say math or English. So I'm not convinced yet that it's a good thing to do this year. That's my opinion. My other question, not having to do with anything tonight, but as far as the athletic director, are we finding a new one here? Are we interviewing, or is anything going on with that? Is there a board or parents on it? Can parents be on it?
Yes, I screened candidates last week, and I know that the process is going to be starting with the committee. So I know that the high school principal and one of our middle school principals is co-chairing the committee, so they'll be reaching out to the kids.
Oh, will that be posted? Yeah, when did that go out? Because from what I understand, those interviews go out on Thursday.
Okay, I'll check.
Sorry to be.
I'll check to find out. Sorry. I'll check to find out.
Okay. All right, thanks.
I'm not saying when you should introduce a foreign language to our students, but they do learn much faster at a younger age. I have a 5-year-old great-grandson. Unfortunately, he lives in another country. They speak one language at home, and they speak another language in the street. Well, he is totally bilingual. They learn fast. The problem is the way we teach language. Dean, listen to me.
Sorry, sir.
Listen, Dean.
I'm
Listen
trying to
to
get
me.
an answer to the question.
Okay, listen to
I
me.
apologize.
The problem is the way we teach language. We teach them how to read and to write. That's not the way you teach a language. Language is taught by first speaking it. My sister-in-law, who taught for 30 years, that has a doctorate in languages, did not speak English in the classroom. The first word they heard was "Buenos dias, muchachos." That's all. She didn't speak any English the entire term. She never had anyone fail a Regents. My son went here.
Target language is really important.
Okay, and you can't mess around. 1 year teach one language and another year teach another language. You can't one day say "La plume de mi tante" and the next year "the lapis de mi tia." You can't do that. You got to hold on to one. My son graduated here in 1995. Okay. He passed his Spanish Regents, and he went on to Cornell. But they tested him and everything. He didn't have to take remedial English. He did not have to take remedial math. You know what he had to take? Remedial language, because he couldn't speak it. I asked him one time when he came home, "What did you learn this week?" He said, "This week we learned about all the utensils in the kitchen in Spanish." Okay, I don't think he really needed that, but okay. Later on, he became a physician. And one of the things that you have to do in your, when you're an intern, you have to do a sequence in the emergency room. Now, when you have someone screaming and they don't speak English, by damn well, you better be fluent in Spanish.
There is a teacher, I just heard, Mr. Carter, that does what you're talking about. When students go in her class, she speaks the language that you said.
There's a couple of them. She speaks nothing but Spanish. When the parents went to
When I was open house, there were a couple of them that did that.
Just speaking Spanish.
That's a new thing, that's
No,
not.
my kids have graduated now, so it's going on for quite some time.
Yeah, so that's been one of the shifts in language instruction, has been more time in the target language, that students do need to hear it more. And that's one of the suggestions in the program that we were presenting tonight was it's all about communication, both more about oral communication in the elementary schools. So that's the focus.
It's all about communicating in that language. If you can speak it, you can write it, you can read it. It just, your ear will pick it up. But that has to be the way we go. At what age we go, and I can't tell you that. And how much you spend for it, I'm not going to tell you that. But that has to be the routine that you follow. Because when my son was in the emergency room in Montefiore Hospital in the Bronx, they don't understand where's the pain and how long have you had it. Unless you speak to them in Spanish, are you going to do your job? And thank God, when he went to Cornell that first year, they made him take fluency in Spanish. They didn't ask if he could write it, he could read it. They asked if he could speak it.
Thank you, Ed. Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor, how many languages do you speak?
I learned Spanish in school. I had to use it because the people on the factory floor spoke Spanish. Okay. I know some Spanish, I know some Hebrew, and I'm finding myself to be more and more fluent in English, believe it or not, because I do technical writing. And when you do technical writing, the grammar check in Word doesn't have the answers.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we're moving on to resignation, termination, leave of absence. I need a motion and a second.
second. All in favor? Schedule 2, appointment, tenures, and salary changes. I need a motion and a second.
Motion?
Yeah.
Second.
I have one question on one of them. There's a, I don't have the full sheet in front of me, but there's one that it doesn't say to replace, so is that a new position?
Is it instruction? I'm not
Can
saying.
you give me the full one? Maybe it's not full. All of them say to replace this one going here, to replace this one going there, except for one.
Is that the one that's civil service order?
Yes.
Yes, what happens is, under civil service rules, if you believe you're working out of title, you request what they call a desk order. Civil service comes in and says either the duties that you are performing are above the title that you have, are at the title, or in one case we even have it's below the title. In this case, the person was awarded the title higher because the duties were more significant than the title over.
Why do we do that? Why do we give them more duties than now we?
No, we don't necessarily. It's just the complexity of what we have with technology requires additional skill. We might bring them in on one level, and the assignments, let's say because of the infrastructure, because of all the equipment that we purchase, requires a different skill set. The person performs those skills, does the civil service, and they say, you're absolutely right, you deserve a higher title.
So that person was already working for us?
All right, so all in favor? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. I have items 2 through 42. Need a motion, a second, and then we'll have a discussion.
Motion?
Second. Questions?
Yep. Number 5 and number 6. How many bids did we get for those?
The board went out for an RFP for architectural contracts 2 years ago.
Right, this is an extension.
This is an extension.
Okay, so why did we not do an RFP again?
Because for professional services, you generally don't do an RFP every year.
I'd like to pull those for separate vote then. Number 20, I'd also like to pull for a separate vote. No, I have no discussion, just want to pull it for a separate vote.
Anyone else?
Yeah, a question on number 2. Just a general question. I don't have a problem with the extension of any particular contract as well. Sorry. But I do see that in some cases, for the elevator inspection, we went out to 88 contractors, we got 1 response. For hardware, went out to 29 contractors, we got 1 response. And for the phone and petition maintenance, we went out to 98 contractors, we got 1 response. So my only concern is, that's 1 response. What if it's a $20,000 job and they're charging us 7? Are we giving it to them because of the 1 response? So my concern is, in a case like that, should we force a second response just to make sure we're in the ballpark?
Great.
Great, I agree with that. Great.
Because when you get 1 response, you're not really getting 3 bids. You should go out and get 3.
3 to 5.
You should force yourself to get 3 quotes.
You just don't know if you're...
Are we getting the right, are we getting a good deal?
I'm sure it's an effort, you're gonna get one on the contract and an answer that you can say, hey, he's 30% more. Oh, no, you know what, he's only 7%.
We don't really do enough give and take. We need to do a little bit more of that.
Just concerned me.
Before we do that, can I just ask this question? What is the process of how you do this? The process is, it goes to,
Process. The purchasing director posts on the website, and vendors can download, and then they can submit their bids to she also checks to see with each administrator, like I'm sure she contacted you for each of these, and you told her if you're satisfied with them.
Right, so,
I assume part of your satisfaction as well as if you're satisfied with the pricing, even if a contract is awarded, doesn't mean that when they come in and they're going to do a job, they will automatically want to give it to them.
correct, yeah. So in respect to these are all buildings and grounds services. I can't speak to the number of people who downloaded or requested the information, but what ends up happening is we review the work necessary within the school district, and we develop that scope of work, define that with purchasing director, and write the specifications. We then put it out in the street. Now, in the case of CIS, since I've been here, we've had three separate heating and ventilation contractors in the past, three different contractors in 4 years. That is aggressive for a disaster. I can understand the need and desire to have checks and balances, but if somebody has been vetted through the system, if somebody learns the systems, the efficiencies and the responsiveness to the district needs is substantially increased. So to bounce from vendor to vendor, just chasing the lowest price, isn't necessarily always the best thing as well. There's a certain amount of intimate knowledge of the systems that play into the calculations as well. So for CIS, I believe we rolled it over. We're happy with the services they provide, so we rolled them over for this year. We're proposing rolling them over. Right, and the same thing for, it's up to 3 years for these. Maggio, we just did a full bid process last year. We looked at single stream, dual stream recycling, we vetted it out and everything else. 2 years ago, that line item in the budget was $120,000. So they came in less. They offered to do the exact same service for the same price that they were awarded to this year. So instead of reinventing the wheel, we assessed what they've done over the course of the year and feel based on previous experiences and current experiences that extending it is definitely worthwhile. The same thing could be sent for every one of the contractors on this list. On an elevator, and I think you said there were 80 some odd people. I didn't know that there were 80 some odd people on the islands who are qualified. They may pick it up, but that are qualified to do partition repair. In fact, the only other one that I know of, there has been a long-standing suit against because of a whole litany of things that I didn't even get into, but it even predates me. They've been extremely responsive. If they came in with a price that we weren't satisfied, it doesn't mean we're forced to give them the work. It just gives us a mechanism to award that work without going through board approval or anything else. So for regular inspections, it's a perfect solution.
I just want to clarify my concern. It's not that we're extending the contracts, because I understand what you're saying, I agree with you. My concern is on the original bid, that they got awarded it on. They were the only people who answered. Right? So it's not on the extension, I'm ready to vote on the extension.
Understood.
It's the cost, right?
Well, no, it's.
So we don't know if it's
No, you don't know if
$20,000,
it's-
we're getting charged for
It's
this.
the fact of the.
Wait, one more question, I know what you're saying, and I think he
So
says
if
too.
you're-
I want to hear the legal
So,
implications.
I think you hit the nail on the head with regard to the legal processes. If you're unhappy with the price, you have the opportunity as a school district to reject and re-advertise, right? That way, you are continually trying to get the price that is the most beneficial to you. So, it's
Competitive, I think is what you're looking
Right,
for, right?
part of the bid process, and I go out and bids all the time, and the reason you want a couple of bids, because as good as you think you are at pricing something out, the reality is, what does the market pay? And you don't get that unless you've got at least 2 bids, that's all I'm saying.
So if you only get one, and reject the one that you got and re-advertise.
That's what I'm asking for. Is that something that we should?
And that's what I went to pull the other two. I did have the sword circles and I forgot to pull it. So I'd like to pull that one also. Which one? Number 2.
We've done that before, where we did report. We did that with the smart grid repair. We did that.
That's good.
Okay, any others?
Well, we would do it if there were problems. So there was a perceived problem with that, I think. These, there was not, we were satisfied
I'm
with
talking
the
about
vendor.
what Ray's saying makes sense.
It absolutely does make sense, but like Mrs. Munzig said, we can't make them. But we could be on board if you weren't happy with them.
Right, and once, I mean, there's been a couple of things that have come along where we've gone out with it, and we've gotten responses, and we have awarded. There are other cases where we only have 1 or 2 respondents, and because they've been well, because they're well embedded in other school districts, municipalities, they've proven themselves throughout the industry. I don't need half a dozen responses to what it was necessary. So I definitely understand the point. And to that end, when we get a response, yes, we can deny it. It's not going to ensure that we're going to get more responses.
Absolutely.
And it could potentially delay processes. So
Again, I'm sorry, I have to clarify just from my fellow board members. I am not fighting against the extension of these people. They've proven themselves. I'm just saying, we might want to look at a policy going forward where we only get 1 response. Let's force the hand and get another one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and when we do the original awards, it's ultimately the board's decision whether or not we accept, and we can present that information maybe a little differently when it's a first approval or anything else, so that it's a little bit more clear. I totally understand.
So before we pull number 2, how long are these extensions for?
I don't know when the most recent one, because somebody like BNR says has been in the district since before I got here. We have rebid since I've been here, but I don't know which year we're on, 1 year, 2 years rebid. I don't know.
This is a 1-year extension though.
But that's what I want to know. These are 1-year extensions, Sharon?
Yes.
All of these?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't need to pull that one then.
You're not following that, okay.
Okay, after this.
Just to comment on, I recall, I hope I know this one.
5 and 6.
Which I believe one is John Grillo.
Yeah.
So John Grillo, we did a comprehensive. We had several responses, and we had John Grillo come in
They weren't
and
here
present to
today.
the Board of Education. But they presented to the Board of Education. One of the difficult things with the architects is most of these projects, in fact, every single project extends beyond a single year. So what we started doing with John Grillo was we started awarding each individual project, and we specified it as opposed to just making a general architect of record that carries on perpetually. So this is actually to award contracts for him. That's probably an oversight on my part when we first awarded when we began the process. Excuse me. We should have awarded him for the 18-19 school year transfer, which is what I believe this one is for. So this is probably an oversight on my part that it wasn't delineated when we first awarded John Grillo the architect services for this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I do. I just wanted more than one question.
We had several. We had
I wasn't ready for that one though. This is not an extension. This is brand new.
Well, it's work that he's already done. That's why I said it's an oversight on my part. When we went through the review process for Mr. Grillo, we had.
I get it, but it's not just an extension for 1 year. It's a brand new contract. So
It's-
we didn't go after an RFP on these 2 contracts.
When the RFP specified it that we were looking for an architect of record for the transfer to capital work as well, it should have been named when the board approved the transfer of capital to the 18-19 school year. Like I said, that was an oversight on my part.
Get it.
We did have multiple responses. We had 3 separate architects, 3 main architects on the island. We had them come in and present. So I just wanted to clarify.
So I know, I wasn't on what.
Any other items to be
So
upvoted?
just for clarification, are we tabling those 2 or
No,
we
we're gonna
are leaving out
vote
of consent?
We're gonna vote separate.
Okay, move on.
Okay, so 5, 6, and 20, anything else? Any more
Can I have a
questions?
question on 20, if that's all right? Just want to know, Sharon, if you got other quotes?
Well, I went out to Travelers and to Chubb, and Travelers was not going to be the excess policy, they're not set up that way, so they wouldn't actually give us a formal quote. Chubb did, however, give us a quote, and although we had a rough estimate that they would come in higher than Scholastic First, Lloyd's of London, they actually came in lower by about $1,500. So then we went back to Scholastic First, well, through the broker, and because of the amount of business that broker does with them, and to just do right by the broker, and because of the difficulty we've had with getting this approved, they came down even lower than the second quote. So now we're at $17,912.13.
The original is how much?
I'm sorry?
The original is that much?
The original was $20,404.
So we saved,
About $2,500 just by honoring the broker's name.
well, we saved money because we actually pursued it. It's just showing me something, that's all. I'm not upset, I'm glad we saved money.
Yeah, me
But
too.
it's just. how
But
many
I do
things
want
we-
to explain that we went out to the marketplace when we first got this broker for this insurance. She explained to me, you can't keep jumping around. You can't every year go out for a quote, because what will happen then is the other insurance companies will feel you're just shopping around. They're not going to honor you. The one you stick with you wind up with an experience for you because you've used them before. Your rate would, if you were to have a claim, they take into account that you've been with them for a while. So every couple of years, it would be more appropriate to go out for quotes, not every single year. This they did just because this has been arduous to get this through, and because they had told us that the quote would not be any lower than $24,000 going out for these other quotes. But then I wanted to try to get the setup that you wanted, and to find out if the legal liability could be outside the limits. I needed to actually do an application again like we had done when we first went out for this insurance. And that's when the rate came in lower, and she said there's a lot of variables that go into it, and it was a bad estimate when they first told us it wouldn't be any lower than 24. So that's how it came to pass, and then the other quote came in lower than the one that came in lowest last year, but they, I asked them to do better, so that we wouldn't lose out by jumping around.
Same deductible,
Yes, same deductible.
what about the inner and $10,000? The inner and outer, they didn't change that?
They can't change that because they have an application process
So should we look for next year,
to go, to be outside the limits.
find out
They don't, this is not the kind of, they're not set up for that. They haven't applied for that kind of format with the
Is anybody?
authorizing body. Not typically for school districts, no.
so there's no way to get insurance for what I asked for this?
Outside the limits, no. Maybe next year they could file their forms in a way that would allow for it, so I could request that, but as of right now, they have not filed themselves to be able to do that kind of coverage for us. None of the providers.
I just want to mention one more thing about the cyber insurance, because it's going through. We got an email about being hacked. I think the RMS got an email about being hacked. When you get a spoofing on an email, that's not hacked. That's a spoof. It's something totally different. And I think when we use the word hack, we scare people. And I'm a little disinclined to say no to this insurance, because I have a feeling that if I do say no to this, we'll all of a sudden get hacked, but maybe not hacked. So we have to stop using that word in the wrong context, because then we scare people, and it's not really being hacked, it's just being spoofed, and it happens every single day to every single one of us.
Or phishing, it's more
Right,
like that.
phishing like that. So I got an email from my brother that says, hey Eileen, look at this, and it was a link. My brother would never send me a link, never. So you look up at the from and it says, Scott Kennedy, whatever, at yahoo.com is his email address, whatever it is. I don't know what okay. Instead it said Scott Kennedy at iss.ppr, whatever.com. So all people have to do is look at the from and know that you got spoofed or phished or whatever it is. Don't click the link. But when you say that you're hacked, or like we got an email from you today, Linda, that you were hacked. You weren't hacked. You were spoofed and phished, which happens all the time. There's computer-generated stuff that does it daily to millions and trillions and billions of email addresses. So we can't do that just because we want to get the insurance. Please, let's not. That's two people that said that they were hacked and we weren't hacked.
So I apologize for using the wrong terminology. However,
It's fine. It just scares people when we use that word. So.
Okay, so 5, 6, and 20 are pulled, anything else? Okay, so I need all in favor of all items minus 5, 6, and 20, and then we'll take 5, 6, and 20 for a separate vote.
Okay.
All in favor on those items only? Now we're taking a vote on items 5, 6, and 20. I need a motion?
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I was in line.
I'm saying aye. What do you say?
I'm saying aye, but
No, there's 3
I'm
ayes.
saying no. No.
yes, that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
I was waiting for your
So,
vote.
so on 5, I'm saying no. On
Alright.
6, I'm saying no.
Yes, we got that. 20, you're saying no. Mark, are
No,
you
I didn't
saying?
say 20. I'm saying no. On
So what
20,
are you
I'm
doing?
abstaining. Thank you.
Oh, 20 abstaining.
Please
Mark?
report.
I'll go last, I'll wait. See what
It says
everybody-
3 ayes.
5 and 6, I have 2 ayes. Only one I'm waiting on is the one.
So 5 and 6 and 2. Okay,
I'm waiting.
so aye for all 3.
So, and I'm an aye for all 3.
Aye all 3. Mark?
No, no, I'll sustain. I don't have to go on that one.
So he's abstaining on 20.
So, Mark?
Passes.
He's abstaining on 20.
Stay, and then
Still goes.
either
Abstentions.
you or no or abstention.
Abstention, 2 abstentions for 20.
2 abstentions for
Yes.
two sections for 20.
Still going through them.
One of the things that was on the consent agenda is something that I kind of, try to advocate for every year. I definitely promote and support this program. It's Beach for Liam. I actually had the moms actually wrote up a little something for me that they wanted me to share tonight, to express how the importance of taking advantage of their screening day. Do you have their screening day yet?
So the problem is that they put in for the utilization of OBMS on April 27th, but their flyer says April 23rd. So we have to phone call into them to figure out what the exact date is.
Okay. All right, these are from the moms that, so our event, our story. Some facts on cardiac arrest in children and a description of the need for SSCD supportive data for national organization Parent Health Watch to be provided to board members. East Relief is a cardiac screening event for children and teens. The screening event is free. The initial test, called a 12-lead EKG examination, is performed. The examinations are non-invasive and involves the placing of 10 adhesive stickers to the chest of the child. A thermal ink photograph of the electricity activity of the heart are recorded in lines across the paper. The photograph can be interpreted by a qualified medical profession and can indicate both electrical and structural problems in the patient's heart. This exam takes 5 minutes. A child whose EKG exam indicates electrical activity that is suspicious for an anomaly will be examined in more detail at the event by a heart sonogram. The sonogram is called an echocardiogram. This test is non-invasive and requires access to the child's chest and the placement of a water-based gel to the skin. A handheld sonogram probe travels over the area of the heart, provides information on cardiac activity through the emission and return of the high-frequency sound wave. The data can be read by a qualified medical professional. This takes about 15 minutes. East Relief was inspired by tragic events here in Connecticut community. On the day of Hurricane Sandy, Liam Regensburg was found in his bed by his parents. He had gone into sudden cardiac death, SCD, while he was asleep unwitnessed.
There was nothing that anyone could do to save them. In 2 weeks following Liam's loss, 2 more boys in our district went to sleep and never woke up, also having been struck by the sudden cardiac arrest while asleep. Andrew Marcos and Matthew Stagliano were, as was Liam, healthy, apparent, bright, active kids with wonderful futures ahead of them. The danger signs were scant, if any. A dizzy feeling in a hot church, a slight cough. Things can easily be explained by circumstances and cause and no worry. Data indicates that 72% of children, or CA, had a mild cardiovascular symptom which appeared benign. This is because a large majority of childhood cardiac diseases in later childhood are silent or near silent. So I'm just going to get to the punch. There was 250 kids that have been screened in our last 3 years. We've been doing this. 20%. Think about that. 20% of those children were then recommended to go see a cardiologist. So when I come up here, I hope I'm not boring you with the lives of children that passed away due to cardiac symptoms. These parents had no idea. They said goodnight to their children. Their children never woke up. No signs, no symptoms. What I mentioned is the slight cough. So again, if you have children, they're opening this up from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. I can't stress enough, even with the statistics showing 20% of those kids were recommended going to a cardiologist after the free screen, but that's not enough to promote your kids to go. I don't know what it is, but Linda will have the date, and a robocall go out to the district, email will go out to the district when there's a date. Huh?
Free.
Yes, free, absolutely.
The cardiologists come and volunteer their time.
Yes, they do. So there's nurses on staff, they have cardiologists on staff. For any parent in the district not to take advantage, I literally took my daughter last year. I was in and out 15 minutes.
What's the age of it?
It's from kindergarten to 12th grade. Kindergarten to 12th grade. All right, on that note, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you everyone for coming. All in favor?
Good.